Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. I'm looking at the Mitsubishi GX developer at the moment. We're going to start off with the basic GX developer and then take a look at maybe the IEC a little later on. As you can see, I've started the software. I apologise for the graphics a little bit. I've had to reduce my video settings for the video software to work with Melsoft, so not quite as clear as I would like it to be, but let's see how the videos go, and if not, I'll transfer it to another computer and see if it works any better. As I say, the software is opened up. I'm not going to do the install, or show you how to do the install of the software. It's pretty straightforward, and the documentation from Mitsubishi is pretty good. The only thing to take care of is when you are installing it, it sometimes comes up with an error or a message saying that you have to install ENV DV, I think it's called. You'll find that as soon as you put the CD in, at the top of that menu it says install GX developer software, and you'll try it and it'll fail. If you just look at the bottom of the list, you'll see this ENV. Install that first. It's just a driver that you need to put in there first. It should really be at the top of the list, but Mitsubishi have put it near the bottom, so it sometimes gets a bit confusing. Anyway, apart from that, let's get on with looking at the software itself. I've opened it up. What we'll do is we'll create a new project, and you can do that, as we say, we've got the usual suspects across the top here on the menu. You've also got the usual icons, so we've got a new project icon, or we can select it from project to new project. Okay, for now we're going to leave the settings as they are. What we're doing is we're going to select a Q CPU in Q mode. Q is a Q series type CPU. The other popular ones are the A CPU and the FX CPU. You can also use a Q CPU in A mode. This is in case you're using a replacement. So if you've had an A series PLC in your system, and of course it blows up or anything else, you need to replace it. You can put the latest version in, which is a Q CPU, but install the software that you've got for your old A mode. Now, there are some differences between obviously the Q and the A series. A lot of it's to do with networks and everything else. But one of the main reasons, we'll show you a little in a couple of minutes of what that is. Okay, the other thing we'll leave as is the ladder. We won't bother with the label settings because that tends to be with the ST type and function blocks. Now we've got a choice here. We can set up the project name, or we can just leave it as is. To set up the project name, just type in what the project name is you want it to be. You can give it a title if you like. For now, I'm just going to leave this blank because there is another way of doing it, and I'd like to show you that as well. But it's very, very similar, in fact, if not the same. Okay, so we'll just click OK, and there we go. We've got ourselves a project that's set up. Notice here, because we didn't set a project name, it's come up as unset project. And that's that little checkbox that I just showed you. Because we left it blank, we need to save it as. So we can save as, and then we can type in the project name here. Look, it's the same things as we had before when we were creating the project, but now we can do it separately. So if you forget to do it when you create that project, we'll call it YouTube Mitzi. Okay, so we'll save that project. Do we want to create that project, a new project? Yes. And there we go. Now it's saved it, YouTube Mitzi. Okay. So there's just two ways of doing it. If you forget to do it as one way, you can just do a save as. Okay, as soon as we've got ourselves a project and we've got the various things come up on the left hand side here, you will notice, and this is one of the major features between the A and the Q series, is here we have these rising pulses or leading edge triggers, whichever way you like to think about it, that you've got here. On the A series you don't have those. The A series was done without the ability to monitor rise and edge or edge triggers in any type. So hence why I chose the Q series, because then we've got the options of showing you those. Okay, there are a few other features obviously that the A series doesn't have that the Q does, and the same with the FX series. So when you are choosing an A, Q or an FX series, make sure that it's got the abilities that you might or you think you might need when you're writing the software. Okay, on the left hand side we'll just give you a quick run through here. On the left hand side we've got the program, and under program, if you press the plus there, you've got the main, and this is the main here. Okay, this is our main editing area, and this is what we're going to do our programming. The device comments, which is also very useful, you can select here under comment, and if you double click that, you can see that it will come up with a list, and it comes as default as X0. So now you can put in your input comments here, and you can give them some names. We will be looking at those comments a little deeper on the next video. You've also got the ability to add an alias in. I tell you what I tend to use these aliases for. Not only do I use the comment to say what it is, so for example, if I've got a plant control system, I might be controlling a valve limit switch. So I might have a valve in the pipeline with a limit switch on the top to tell me whether the valve is opened or closed. What I tend to use for the alias is I will put that limit switch number either off the electrical drawings or off the PID drawings. And the same with the outputs. If it's a valve, then I'll say what the valve is for. It might be a output valve for tank 3, but I will also put in the alias the valve number either off one of the drawings. That way it gives you at least some continuity between your software and the electrical drawings. To select the device you want, you just type in what it is that you want, which will look at the outputs. So outputs are Y in Mitsubishi and inputs are X's. So if we put Y0, we'll now look at the outputs, and if you click the display, it will then show you the outputs. Notice now that it's added that Y into the list. It defaulted as X to begin with, but it's now put in our outputs. If I want to look at my latched flags, L0, type it in again, it's now added it to the list, and I start at L0 all the way through. Or I could choose M0, again list it, and I've got them. Okay, or I could look at some words. Okay, so if I look at, well, let's put D0 for now, and I'll look at my word values. Now I might have a word value down at 100. I don't want to scroll down, so you can actually type in D100 and it will start the list off at D100. Notice that this is moved, so you can go back to 0, or I can even look at D1000. Okay, and it brings up D1000 there. Okay, the same with anything else. If I wanted let's say X0A, it starts off at X0A, but above that of course I've got all the other X's if I choose. Notice that this is all done, Mitsubishi do it all in hexadecimal, so the addresses for the inputs and the outputs are all hexadecimal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then you've got 16, 17, 18, 19 and so on. If you are familiar with something like Siemens, you notice that they do them in bytes or in words. So, and they also use the device name starting with I for inputs or Q for outputs, or in German notation it'll be E for inputs, which is Eingang I think, and A for outputs, which is Ausgang. So but here in Mitzi they do use the hexadecimal. Okay, I have done or I will be doing videos on hexadecimal counting systems and everything else later, so you can sort of read upon that at a slightly later date. Okay, further in the list we've got PLC parameters, network parameters and remote passes, etc. I'm not going to worry too much about these, although I am just going to open up the PLC parameter and show you one particular. If you go to PLC RAS, you will notice that you have operating mode when there is an error. So these are a list of items that can cause the system to go into stop. However, if you don't want them to go into stop, if you want them to continue, for example, let's say the fuse blown, you can select that system to continue, alright, without it going into stop mode. That's your choice. You know, a file access error, I would probably continue that, and probably a computational error, I would probably continue that as well. But that's all down to your program and how you feel it to be safe or not to continue the PLC running. Okay, you've got watchdog timer that runs at 200 milliseconds, battery check, etc., fuse blown check, verify modules. These are the error checks that you can do. If you want to ignore the battery, then ignore the battery or ignore fuses or etc. I do tend to leave them as default. However, I may change these depending on what my system is at the time and how safe I think it is to do that. I'll just discard all of that. Network parameters, again, it comes up with this little window and you can access your network parameters. I'm not going to worry too much about those for now. We'll look at those maybe in a later video. Okay, so we'll go back to our main there. So that's just a quick look at or an introduction to the software for GX Developer. In the next video we'll be looking at setting up how to edit it and start adding some rungs in. Okay, I hope that's been helpful for now. I will be making some more videos a little later about it, so in the meantime enjoy, and yeah, click the like or dislike and leave a comment if you will, especially if you dislike it and I will try and rectify any dislikes in future videos. Alright, take care for now. Any messages or questions you have, by all means send me a message and I will try and answer it as quickly as possible. Take care for now. Bye bye.